What really happened after the last great heist? This is the story of the biggest cash heist in history. Right before the Iraq War in 2003, one guy walked into a bank with just a handwritten note and walked out with $1 billion in cash. It's called the last great heist of a dying government. But that's not even the craziest part. The real story is what happened after the money disappeared. We're talking secret stashes, millions of dollars going missing again, and the soldiers who were supposed to find it started stealing it themselves. This is the insane story of what happened after the world's biggest heist. Okay, picture this. It's March 18th, 2003, 4 a.m. in Baghdad. The city is completely silent because in less than 2 days, a massive war is about to start. But before a single bomb dropped, Saddam Hussein wanted to do one last crazy thing. And this wasn't some Hollywood movie heist with masks and lasers. Nope. A fleet of giant trucks just pulls up to the central bank of Iraq. Saddam's son, Hussein, gets out, walks in, and hands the bank manager a note from his dad. The note basically said, "Give me $1 billion now." You can't say no to that. For the next 5 hours, they loaded literal tons of cash. We're talking $920 million in US dollars and another $100 million in euros, all packed into giant metal boxes. For 5 hours, they filled 3 giant tractor trailers with boxes stuffed with money. When the sun came up, the trucks just drove away with a quarter of the country's entire cash reserves. The $1 billion was gone. And this is where the story gets even crazier. A few days later, the war starts, Baghdad falls, and the US Army begins the world's biggest treasure hunt. Their goal? Find the $1 billion that Saddam's son just stole. At first, they thought the money was used to fund fighters or was already smuggled into Syria. For weeks, they found nothing. The $1 billion had completely vanished. But then, they got a tip. Soldiers raided one of Saddam's palaces, and you will not believe what they found. Hidden inside the walls of the palace were giant metal boxes packed with cash. They found an unbelievable $650 million. Everyone celebrated. They thought they'd recovered most of the heist money. But here's the twist. Some people claimed this wasn't the bank money at all. They said it was just the personal piggy bank of Saddam's other son, Uday, who was famous for hoarding cash. So was it the $1 billion heist money or just some pocket change for a dictator's son? Nobody knew for sure. But what we do know is that the US Army now had one of the biggest piles of cash in the world. And that's when a whole new problem started. So they moved all $650 million to a safe spot to be counted. And the job of guarding all this money went to young American soldiers. Can you imagine being 20 years old in the middle of a war and suddenly being told to guard literal tons of cash?
I want you to picture pallets
Stacked with shrink-wrapped bricks of $100 bills. More money than you could ever imagine. And for some of the soldiers, the temptation was just too insane. This wasn't some big, planned-out thing. It was just one soldier at a time making a crazy decision. A guy on guard duty would grab a $10,000 brick of cash and hide it in his bag. Another person counting the money would just pocket a stack. They were stuffing cash into footlockers and mailing it home to their families, saying it was just extra money they saved. Little by little, millions of dollars started disappearing again. The same soldiers who were supposed to be protecting the stolen money were now stealing it themselves. The irony is unbelievable. And this was the money meant to rebuild the entire country for the Iraqi people. Eventually, military investigators started noticing weird things, like soldiers suddenly making huge cash deposits back home or buying cars with straight cash. They launched a massive investigation, and the story of this second secret heist started to blow up. This story is absolutely insane, and it's about to get even crazier. If you're enjoying this, smash that subscribe button right now because we are just getting started on uncovering what really happened. So what happened to the guys who did the first heist? Well, their luck ran out fast. On July 22, 2003, just 4 months after the heist, someone who wanted the $30 million reward told the U.S. Army exactly where Qusay and his brother Uday were hiding. Special forces surrounded the house, but the brothers refused to surrender. What happened next was an insane 6-hour firefight. The U.S. Army literally fired anti-tank missiles into the building, turning it to rubble. When it was all over, Qusay and Uday were dead. All that stolen money couldn't save them. And the American soldiers who stole the cash? Dozens of them were caught. They were sent to prison, kicked out of the military, and had their lives completely ruined. But this is where the story goes from crazy to completely unexplainable. Remember, almost $1 billion was stolen. They found about $650 million. That means over $250 million is still missing. And to make it even more insane, years later, the Pentagon admitted that they somehow lost another $100 million of the money they had already found. Conclusion: the lingering mystery. So where is all the missing money from the biggest heist ever? To this day, nobody knows. We're talking about at least $250 million, maybe way more, that just vanished. Did it get smuggled into Syria in the first few hours? Is it sitting in a secret bunker in Lebanon right now? Did it get used to fund more fighting in Iraq? The trail went completely cold, and that $250 million question has never been answered. The story of this heist is more than just a crazy crime.
It shows what happens when the rules disappear.
And unimaginable amounts of money are just sitting there. It corrupted a dictator's family, and then it corrupted the soldiers who were supposed to fix things. The robbery was just the beginning. The real story was the chaos that came after. It leaves you with one insane question. If you were surrounded by a mountain of free cash, what would you do?